Assalamu alaikum. A very happy new year at the maiden of 2026. This is Pratusha Burwal welcoming you all to the English news from Btv-Chattogram. Let's begin with the top stories. Advisory Council approves draft of National Urban Policy 2025. Duty on mobile phones imports reduced 15%. New textbooks for primary and secondary education handed over to students for new academic session. Scrutiny of nomination papers for national polls to continue till January 4. Whole nation in mourning mood as 3-day state mourning being observed for Khaleda Zia's death. Tariq Rahman expresses gratitude to concerned parties performing duties at Begum Khaleda Zia's funeral ceremony. New Year 2026 celebrated all over the world with colorful events. And Sylhet Titans pulled off a 6-run victory over Dhaka Capitals in BPL cricket. Viewers, those were the headlines, so moving on to the details. The Council of Advisors today at its first meeting of the year approved the draft National Urban Policy 2025 and decided to significantly reduce customs duties and overall tax incidence on mobile phones imports and local manufacturing. Chief Advisor Professor Mohammad Yunus chaired the meeting at his office in the capital's Tejgaon area. About tax reduction for mobile phone, the customs duty on imported mobile phones has been reduced from 25% to 10%. For locally manufactured mobile phones, the customs duty, which was previously 10%, has been cut to 5%. Chief Advisor expressed gratitude to all concerned authorities for ensuring security and managing state-arranged funeral and burial of 3-time former Prime Minister and national leader Begum Khaleda Zia with dignity and state honors. Later, Press Secretary Shofiul Alam briefed the media about the meeting at the Foreign Service Academy.
আশা করি ফেব্রুয়ারির 12 তারিখে দেশ একটি ফ্রি ফেয়ার পিসফুল এবং ফেস্টিভ ইলেকশন পাবে এবং আমরা একটা রেকর্ড টার্ন আউট দেখব। তো সেই লক্ষ্যে আজকে এই বছরের প্রথম ক্যাবিনেট মিটিং হলো। ক্যাবিনেটে অনেকগুলো বিষয়ে ডিসকাশন হয়েছে, একটা ল এবং আরেকটি পলিসির বিষয়ে আলোচনা হয়েছে। এনআইডি আইন রহিতকরণ অধ্যাদেশ 2025-এর খসড়া নীতিগত রহিতকরণ, এটা হচ্ছে এনআইডি আইনটা যেটা অধ্যাদেশ যেটা সেটা রহিতকরণ অধ্যাদেশ এর খসড়া নীতিগত চূড়ান্ত অনুমোদন সংক্রান্ত উপদেষ্টা পরিষদের সিদ্ধান্ত বাতিলের প্রস্তাব অনুমোদন হয়েছে। আপনি মোবাইল ফোন আমদানিতে কাস্টমস ডিউটি কমানো হয়েছে, সেটা আগে ছিল 25% কাস্টম ডিউটি, এখন দিতে হবে 10%। এটা করা হয়েছে এবং যারা মোবাইল ফোন যারা এখানে ম্যানুফ্যাকচার করেন তাদের জন্য কাস্টম ডিউটি যেটা আগে 10% ছিল সেটা 5% করা হয়েছে। এর ফলে আশা করা হচ্ছে যে বাংলাদেশে মোবাইল ফোন ইন্ডাস্ট্রি আরও বেশি ব্যাপকতা পাবে, আরও অনেকে ইন্টারেস্টেড হবেন বাংলাদেশে মোবাইল ফোন ম্যানুফ্যাকচারিং করতে। যে সমস্ত মোবাইল বাংলাদেশে উৎপন্ন হয় তাদের চাহিদা বাড়বে এবং এগুলোর দামও কমে আসবে। সরকারি ব্যবস্থাপনায় যারা হজে যাচ্ছেন তাদের সেরকম কোনো কমপ্লেন আমরা শুনছি না। যতটা প্রাইভেট যারা হজ এজেন্সির মাধ্যমে যাচ্ছেন, তো তাদের বিষয়ে একটু আলোচনা হয়েছে নতুন করে কিভাবে এই পুরো বিষয়টা হ্যাসেল ফ্রি করা যায় এবং যারা যারা এই কাজগুলো মানে এই নেগলিজেন্স করছেন তাদেরকে কিভাবে আইনের আওতায় আনা যায় সেই বিষয়ে আজকে ডিসকাশন হয়েছে।
Deputy Press Secretary Abul Kalam Azad Mojumdar said in the briefing, by January 15, this year's textbooks will be handed over to all students.
চাহিদাকৃত প্রাথমিক এবং প্রাথমিক স্তরের মোট 30,02,05,104টি পাঠ্যপুস্তকের মধ্যে 24,59,92,110টি বই শিক্ষার্থীদের হাতে পৌঁছে গেছে। এটা মোট পাঠ্যপুস্তকের 83%। প্রাথমিক এবং প্রাথমিক পর্যায়ে এবং ক্ষুদ্র নৃগোষ্ঠীদের জন্য প্রস্তুতকৃত বইগুলো শতভাগ, ইবতেদায়ী মাদ্রাসার 95% বই, নবম এবং দশম শ্রেণীর ছাত্রছাত্রীদের জন্য 86%, ষষ্ঠ শ্রেণীর ছাত্রছাত্রীদের জন্য 82% এবং ব্রেইল পদ্ধতির 77% বই নির্ধারিত গন্তব্যে পৌঁছে দেওয়া হয়েছে। এছাড়াও সপ্তম শ্রেণীর 63% এবং অষ্টম শ্রেণীর 52% বই শিক্ষার্থীদের হাতে তুলে দেওয়া হচ্ছে বছরের প্রথম দিনে। এবছর আপনার যথেষ্ট সময় নিয়ে কাজ শুরু করার পরেও ষষ্ঠ এবং সপ্তম শ্রেণীর পাঠ্যপুস্তক প্রস্তুতিতে কিছুটা সময় লেগেছে। প্রথম দিনে আপনার এই সময় লাগার কারণে এই দুইটা শ্রেণীর পাঠ্যপুস্তক হয়তো শিক্ষার্থীদের কাছে এখনো সবগুলো পুরোপুরি পৌঁছানো সম্ভব হয় নাই, তবে ডিসেম্বরের 28 তারিখেই সবগুলো পাঠ্যপুস্তকের PDF কপি ইতিমধ্যেই আপনার ওয়েবসাইটে আপলোড করা হয়েছে। বিশ্বের যে কোনো স্থান থেকে যে কেউ এই পুস্তক প্রিন্ট আউট নিয়ে পড়তে সক্ষম হবেন। আমরা সরকারের পক্ষ থেকে আশা করছি এবছর 15ই জানুয়ারির মধ্যেই সবগুলো পাঠ্যপুস্তক শিক্ষার্থীদের হাতে তুলে দেওয়া সম্ভব হবে। অন্যান্য বছরের যে কার্যক্রমগুলো এই বিষয়ক কার্যক্রমগুলো এগুলো সরকার পর্যালোচনা করে দেখেছে। আসলে গত 5 বছরে কখনোই মার্চের আগে সম্পূর্ণ বই শিক্ষার্থীদের হাতে তুলে দেওয়া সম্ভব হয় নাই। সরকার এবার আশা করছে যে 15 জানুয়ারির মধ্যে এই কাজটা সম্পন্ন করা যাবে।
At the very beginning of the year, new textbooks for the primary and secondary levels have been handed over to students for the new academic session. This year, no grand big festival was held at educational institutions due to 3 days of state mourning following the death of former Prime Minister Begum Khaleda Zia. However, despite the absence of celebrations, young students were delighted to receive their new textbooks on the first day of the year. Today, teachers and school authorities distributed the books to students at various schools across the country. Teachers also expressed their happiness at being able to deliver the textbooks to students in time. Although there was no festive atmosphere, joy was clearly visible on the faces of the students as they enjoyed the smell of new books. Parents also expressed satisfaction that their children received textbooks on the first day of the year. Today is the third day of scrutiny of nomination papers submitted by candidates for the 13th parliamentary election. Following the end of nomination submission on 29 December, the scrutiny process began on 30 December. The verification is being conducted at the offices of returning officers and assistant returning officers across the country. At the Dhaka Divisional Commissioner's Office, scrutiny is underway for a total of 253 nomination papers for 13 constituencies in Dhaka. The process will continue until 4th January. The candidates whose nominations will be declared invalid during scrutiny will have the opportunity to file appeals until 11th January. The second day of state mourning is being observed today following the death of Begum Khaleda Zia, a top leader of the country's democratic politics, former Prime Minister and chairperson of the Bangladesh Nationalist Party BNP. A 3-day state mourning began across the country yesterday and will continue until tomorrow. On the second day of state mourning, the national flag is kept at half-mast at all government, semi-government, autonomous and educational institutions, as well as all public and private buildings and at Bangladesh missions abroad. The mourning program was announced in a notification issued by the Cabinet Division last Tuesday. The notification stated that the government is deeply saddened by the death of Begum Khaleda Zia, the uncompromising leader of the movement to restore democracy. In her memory, state mourning is being observed from Wednesday, December 31, 2025 to Friday, January 2, 2026. Special prayers will be offered tomorrow at all mosques across the country, and special prayers will also be arranged at other religious places of worship, seeking the salvation of Begum Khaleda Zia's soul. Yesterday, BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia was laid to eternal rest with state honor and dignity beside the grave of her husband, Shohid President Ziaur Rahman. Accompanied by family members, the deceased son, Tariq Rahman, laid his mother to rest in the grave. As part of the state honor, a guard of honor was presented by the armed forces to the former Prime Minister. Prior to the burial, Begum Khaleda Zia's historic funeral prayer was held at the South Plaza of the National Parliament building, Manik Mia Avenue, and across several surrounding kilometers. Millions of people participated in the funeral prayer, bidding a final farewell to the uncompromising leader with grief and respect. Many are describing this funeral prayer as the largest of all time. The mausoleum of former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khaleda Zia has been opened to the public, allowing people to pay their respects. BNP leaders and activists, along with people from all walks of life, are visiting the site to offer prayers and pay their respects. The entrance to Ziaudan in Sher-e-Bangla was opened after 12 p.m. today. Earlier from 11 a.m., a large crowd has gathered to visit Khaleda Zia's mausoleum. After the gates were opened, people were allowed to enter and pay their respects. BNP acting chairperson Tariq Rahman has expressed his gratitude and appreciation to the armed forces, law enforcement agencies, government officials, diplomatic representatives and members of the media for their role in the janazah and burial of BNP chairperson Khaleda Zia. In a post on his verified Facebook account this morning, Tariq Rahman conveyed his thanks, saying that despite the nation's deep sorrow, his mother's final farewell was conducted with proper dignity and respect, reflecting the responsibility and professionalism of all involved. He praised the roles of the Army, Police, RAB, intelligence agencies, various ministries and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. He also extended heartfelt respect and thanks to media personnel from both home and abroad who covered the event despite challenging circumstances. Tariq Rahman emphasized that his message of gratitude comes not as a representative of any institution but on behalf of his family as a matter of personal acknowledgement. Information and Broadcasting Secretary Mahbooba Farzana has called on information officers to play a role in shaping public opinion regarding the upcoming national parliamentary election and referendum. She made the call today in Dhaka at the closing ceremony and certificate distribution program of the 42nd Professional Entry Training Course for BCS Information Cadre Officers organized by the National Institute of Mass Communication. The event, presided over by the Institute's Director General Mohammad Hiruzaman, was addressed by the Director General of the Department of Mass Communication, Mohammad Abdul Jalil, the Director General of the Department of Films and Publication, Khaleda Begum, and Chief Information Officer Mohammad Nizamul Gobir. The Information Secretary said the information officers work at the field level and therefore can play an important role in building a bridge between the administration and the people during elections. At the event, Information Secretary Mahbooba Farzana handed over certificates to 22 trained information officers. A condolence book has been opened today at Bangladesh Television in memory of the recently deceased three-time former Prime Minister and BNP chairperson Begum Khalida Zia. জাতীয়তাবাদী সামাজিক সাংস্কৃতিক সংস্থা JOSAS initiated the event supported by the Bangladesh Television Officers Club and the Bangladesh Television Employees Union. BTV Director General Muhammad Mahbubul Alam, BNP Standing Committee member Selima Rahman, and BTV Deputy Director General Muhammad Rukun Uddin signed the condolence book in the morning, expressing sympathy and condolences. JOSAS convener Hilal Khan and member Secretary Zakir Hussain Rukun, among others, signed the condolence book. The condolence book will remain open to the general public until 5 p.m. tomorrow. Once celebrated as the commercial capital built by the harmony of hills, rivers and the sea, the vibrant soul of Chattogram is fading. A core part of its heritage, the hundreds of large deep ponds with their crystal clear, mirror-like water are rapidly vanishing under the aggressive march of development. The city's centuries-old reservoirs and the natural water bodies are being relentlessly filled with earth and debris, replacing nature's blue-looking glasses with dull grey concrete. This unchecked filling of vital water bodies is exacting a steep toll on the entire city's population. While explicit laws exist for the conservation of ponds and the reservoirs, their enforcement remains vague. This loophole allows for the continuous encroachment of ancient water bodies. Legal analysts warn that this pattern of violation will lead to a severe environmental catastrophe. These urban water bodies were once the city's primary sources of water. Today, they are being filled and are on the verge of disappearing beneath commercial establishment. If effective measures are not taken to protect these water reservoirs, the city's future environment will be disastrous. Therefore, concerned citizens are demanding the protection of these remaining water bodies to save both our heritage and our environment. Now, international news. New Year is being welcomed with various events in different countries around the world. The first hour of the new year is illuminated by the colorful flashes of fireworks. Depending on the time difference, the New Year celebration begins at different times before midnight in different countries. The Pacific island nation of Kiribati being the first to enter 2026. Then, in Auckland of New Zealand, welcomed the New Year with a fireworks display. New Year was welcomed with various celebrations in Sydney, Australia, in memory of the casualties from a shooting incident at Bondi Beach. A light display was shown at the Sydney Harbour Bridge with the words "Peace and Unity" to convey a message of peace. Fireworks were also set off during this time. A large number of people gathered there. The people celebrations and drums performances at the Zhujiang Pass at the Great Wall of China just outside Beijing. Revelers wear headgear and waved boards emblazoned with 2026 and the symbol of a horse. In Seoul, thousands gathered at the Bozenga Bell Pavilion where a bronze bell was struck 33 times at midnight, a tradition rooted in Buddhist cosmology, symbolizing the 33 heavens. The chimes are believed to dispel misfortune and welcome peace and prosperity for the year ahead. Displaced Palestinians in Gaza are sounding the alarm about Israel's looming ban against dozens of international groups that provide life-saving assistance and services in the devastated territory. Israel is moving to revoke the licenses of 37 international NGOs, including Doctors Without as it pushes to demonize the organizations that assist Palestinians. Among them, United Nations agencies with unproven accusations of links to Hamas. Israel said the ban, which starts on Thursday and also includes the Norwegian Refugee Council, Care International and the International Rescue Committee, among other groups, stems from the new regulations that require aid organizations to reveal details about the staff and work. Despite the ceasefire, Israel has continued to kill Palestinians in Gaza and impose restrictions on the entry of aid and basic goods to the enclave, including temporary housing. With most of Gaza turned to rubble, more than 1 million people have faced harsh winter weather while living in makeshift tents. And in the absence of economic activity amid the destruction, Gaza's population remains heavily dependent on international aid. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees (UNRWA) also declared Israel's move, saying it is further compromising the humanitarian operation in crisis-stricken Gaza. UNRWA Chief Philip Lazzarini said the Israel decision sets a dangerous precedent. Swiss police have said several people have been killed and others injured after an explosion ripped through a bar in the luxury alpine ski resort town of Crans-Montana. The explosion took place at about 1:30 a.m. in a bar called Low Constellation, which is popular with tourists as revelers rang in the new year. More than 100 people were in the building, and we are seeing many injured and many dead, police officer Lathian said. Crans-Montana is situated in the heart of Swiss Alps, just 40 kilometers north of the Matterhorn. Images published by the Swiss media showed a building, flames, and emergency services nearby. The area has been completely closed off and no fly zone has been imposed over Crans-Montana, the police said in a statement.